Welcome back to Don't Get Me Started podcast, everybody. Today is a little different because it's just me as your host, and Abby's not here today, but I'm Heather. But I'm here with my cousin Olivia, who is an entrepreneur, a brand designer, and a new mom, and a bunch of other things. But I'll let her introduce herself as well. So go for it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Heather.
Of course.
Okay, so I am first and foremost a brand and website designer. I own a design agency. That was the first business that I started, and I started that in 2017. And since then, I've started a few other business ventures and primarily am a business mentor for creatives. And through that, I have a podcast, an education platform with free resources, templates, and courses to help other creatives start and launch and grow their businesses.
Awesome. Okay, so I know that me and you have talked before about it, but I was wondering if you could share kind of like your journey with graduating college and then kind of like going to the corporate world, but then deciding that wasn't for you and like how you decided you wanted to become your own boss and start your own business.
Yeah, I actually love telling this story because
Yeah.
I feel like it's very relatable, especially when you're in your early 20s. So after undergrad, I moved out west to California. I was in college in New York and then went straight to California. There was nothing that was going to stop me from moving from moving out there. I would have
Yeah.
scrubbed floors with toothbrushes if that meant that I could move out there. So pretty much a month after graduation, I moved out there and I did go out there before because my parents were like, you can't move out there without a job. And so I did go out there and did like a bunch of interviews for a week. And I did have a job when I moved out there, um, in corporate. So I was on the marketing team of like a commercial real estate firm. And actually, before I get into that, I want to go back a little bit more is I come from a super traditional family unit. So my parents worked really, really hard from where they are now and like basically did everything themselves, like paid their way through high school and college and everything, and just worked really hard to provide for us as kids because they didn't come from a lot.
Yeah.
So for them, it was like education and getting a corporate job, like that was the most important thing in life, was like stability, getting a job, working for corporate. And I was the first born.
Yeah.
And they were very just put a lot, not, I wouldn't say pressure because I never really felt pressure, but they just had really big dreams for me, which is great. Like I never felt like, oh, this is what we want from you. But that I think that knowing that is important, like going forward in my story. Like my
Yeah.
parents were very involved in like the decisions I was making. And it was
Yeah.
also important for me that I didn't disappoint them. So
Yeah.
moved out to California because I would have just like moved out to California and like figured it out. Like I probably would have just like done waitressing or like I didn't really care. I just wanted to live by the beach. So I was
Mhm.
living there and honestly was thriving. Like I moved out there all by myself. So I knew no one. I met my roommate on Craigslist. I bought my bike on Craigslist.
It's like the dream.
Yeah, I literally like owe everything to Craigslist like the first year of my life,
It's so funny.
which is like I think Craigslist is totally different now. Like I don't know if I would recommend that.
Yeah, I've like never been on Craigslist. I don't know anything about Craigslist at all.
Yeah, like
That's so funny.
I'm pretty sure I met Adriana, my roommate, on Craigslist. But anyway,
That is so
so moved out there and was doing great. Like had a job, was living literally a block from the ocean, like absolutely loved it. And my job was fine. Like my boss was great. I loved the people that I worked with. I made really good friends, but it was just very unfulfilling
yeah.
where I wasn't creatively sparked at all. I was like didn't really know what I wanted to do and like what my career was, but I knew that I didn't want to do that. Like I would look around the office and at my manager and my boss and be like, I don't want their job.
Yeah.
And I had never been, I didn't know that you can own your own business. Like never crossed my mind. I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. Like it never was a thing for me that I was
Hmm.
new. And maybe I did meet people that owned their own businesses, but I just never knew what it was. And then we started working with a freelancer with my job. And he was like, and we were just chatting and I was like, well, who do you work for? And he's like, oh, myself. And I was
Oh,
like, what do you mean?
oh, yeah. You're like, what's that?
Yeah. And so he was really the first introduction of entrepreneurship. And that really just like stuck to me. And I would hang out with him and we'd work together. And really opened my eyes to a whole different lifestyle, really. And that's
Okay.
another thing too. Like out west, the lifestyle is way more chill. So,
Yeah.
if I walked into work around 9 a.m. Because I wanted to like surf in the morning or like go to the beach, like it was fine.
Yeah.
And then same with like happy hour and everything. So it moving out of like my comfort zone of like things that I knew and people that I knew was so like at the time I didn't realize it was the catalyst, but it was one of the catalysts of following my dreams or like leading my path, even though I didn't know what that path looked like. And then
Hmm.
I'll never forget this. So I was working and like I was working with this guy and like was introduced to all this. And I just was like literally miserable in my job. Like it was just,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
looking for other jobs, but nothing was really like, okay, I really want to do this. And I called my mom leaving from work and was basically in tears and was like, I just don't love my job. Like I don't
Yeah.
love it. And she was like, well, nobody really loves their job.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to be
I,
one of those people.
yeah, my
I
mom
just
has definitely said the same thing to me. Like, no one loves their job. And I'm like, that sounds so sad.
so sad. And I think like people talk, I don't think you're a millennial. I think you might be like a Gen Z, but people
Yeah,
talk
I
shit
think
about
so.
like our millennial like mindset and how we're privileged or whatever. But I think our perspective and like millennial and lower and
Yeah.
younger, like I think that our perspective on that is really important and like being able to trailblaze and open your eyes to not have like you should love what you do. If you spend your entire
Yeah.
life working, like no. So
Yeah.
after
No,
she told me that, I was
100%.
like, okay, I'm on a mission for that to not happen. And basically, like, um, I think it was just a few months after that, I woke up one day and was like, I have to quit my job. Like, I
Yeah.
literally can't do this anymore. Like I remember telling Alex, who was my boyfriend at the time, now my husband, and I was
Mhm.
like so nervous. Like I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna quit my job. And I thought he was gonna like ask me all these questions and like, well, what do you mean? You're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? And
Yeah.
he was like, okay, cool. Like we'll figure it out. Like, I'm not
Oh.
worried. And I was like, okay. So that was I was 24. That was in 2017.
So
And
when did so you worked at your corporate job for 3 years or like
two.
2 years? Okay. And was Alex with you in California when you
Yeah.
quit?
So
Okay.
we broke up when we graduated college. We had dated a year in college, and
Mhm.
then we were kind of like, we're super young, like we should both try our own thing. And so I moved out to California. He moved to Colorado. And then
Okay.
after I was out in California for like a year, he ended up moving out to San Diego.
Aw, nice.
Yeah. He's
And
like,
fast
he came to
forward
visit,
like
and I was like, yeah, I know. It's sick, right? And then we ended up living there for 4 more years. So
nice.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So then once you quit your job, like how because I think I went through a similar thing, and I think this is when you kind of told me this story. Like I was at a job right out of college and I just like hated it. And I was like, this is so sad. And like I would like drive to work crying and like leave work crying
Oh my
because I
God.
hated it. And like I remember being so nervous to quit. Like I remember like shaking in my boots. Like so afraid of quitting. And I remember I went to my manager and I was like in tears crying to this like 50-year-old man. I felt so, I was like I'm probably making him so uncomfortable. But he was like, like you just got to do what you got to do, like whatever makes you happy. And I was like, wow, I mean, I'm still in the corporate world, but I'm like much, much happier at my job now. So I feel like quitting can be so scary thinking about it because you just feel like that's what you're supposed to do. And you're like, everyone else like doesn't really like it, but they're staying. So why do I have to stay? Or
Yeah.
like, should I be staying too, kind of thing. But yeah, you just have to do what's best for you. So no, that's
Yeah.
great. So then what kind of happened after you quit?
So I quit my job, and also at the time I was getting my yoga teacher certification because I was like, I need to I need some sort of spiritual awakening. So that actually also had a play in this where it was very much like I was super aware of myself and what I wanted out of life and the
Yeah.
type of lifestyle that I wanted because I was in this immersion program for yoga teacher training. So
Okay.
it was like 20 hours a week, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays for 3 months. So it was
Oh, wow.
very intense and you had
Hmm.
no choice but to look inward. So
Yeah.
I was a yoga teacher on the side. And then I also worked at an art gallery. And that was like maybe I worked like 20 hours a week and I was able to like make my rent, like pay my rent and stuff,
Hmm.
and like my
Yeah.
bills. And then I just like freelanced and kind of like figured out. So I quit my job with like no business plan. Like I was just like, I
Okay.
can't work
Yeah.
here anymore. Like I have no plan. I just
Yeah.
knew that I wanted to work for myself and do some sort of graphic design. And
Yeah.
actually, when I quit, my boss, she was so amazing. She was like my California mom. Like she just was
Oh,
absolutely awesome. She ended up hiring me for freelance. So I
okay.
did have like that type of in with her. And then I had like got some other clients from them as well, doing just like random social media graphics and things like that.
Yeah.
And over time, through like trial and error and trying different things, like discovered that I liked branding and like liked logo design and color palette. So I started taking courses and learning from other people and just it kind of evolved from there. And I would say like the first 2 years, I definitely would call myself like a freelancer, like wasn't making like maybe made my corporate salary, but it wasn't until I quit those side jobs, like stopped being a yoga teacher and stopped working at the gallery, that my business really took off. So I would say like 3 years in, by the third year I was doing really well, and then from
Okay.
there it's just kind of like evolved over time.
Okay. That's cool. So, yeah, I guess I didn't realize how long you were in California for. So you started like the first couple years of your business out there and then moved around a bunch. Nice.
Yep. Yeah.
So, let me see, I wrote down the question. So I guess like going more towards starting your business now, how did you like, I know you just talked about it a little bit, but get the idea for, I know you started as like your name brand, like Olivia Design, right? And then you changed to Current Design Studio. So how did you kind of like get that idea and then get your business kind of like off the ground and turn it into a success?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing, and I tell this to so many people, is like this is the only way that you'll learn and know what you're capable of doing and know the direction that you want to go is if you take action. And it's
Mhm.
going to be super cringy and it's going to be really messy, but if you are just constantly planning, nothing will ever get done. Nothing
Yeah.
will ever, you would just never do it and you'll always just be a dream. And I
Yeah.
hear this conversation so much like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that." And I'm just like, "Okay, like I'll see it when I believe it, or I'll believe it when I see it." And
Yeah.
that is like very true to like anyone that want something really bad, they're gonna just do it and take action. And that was what happened to me. Like I went into it very blind, but I always knew that one, I wanted to be able to travel whenever I
Oh,
wanted. And two, I knew that I like when I did have a family that I wanted to have as much free time. Like I didn't want to feel like I had to choose career over family or just career over life in general. So I think like knowing that really like has led to all of the decisions that I've made and continue to make like in my business and what I want from it. But I would say I forgot the question, but
I
um
don't even remember I think I asked like how did you kind of turn your- like how did you I guess what kind of steps did you take to start seeing success in your business? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. So I would say like first and foremost, and this goes for anything, whether you want to start a business or just like want the like you're dreaming of a life. Well, first of all, it's like if it's in your heart and you're dreaming about it and thinking about it, it's there for a reason. Like
mhm.
not everyone wants to start their own business or be an entrepreneur. So if you're thinking about it and it's like literally keeping you up at night, then there's a reason that it's there. And I think to like, yeah, just and so for me, like realizing that and being like, okay, it's not normal that other people are feeling this way or like no one else feels this way.
Yeah.
Then then I knew that I had to pursue it. But I guess just like the actual steps I took were so the trial and error, like what I was saying, like the first few
Okay.
years, just like really testing the waters and like taking on pretty much any client and figuring out what I like and didn't like. And, I would work with some clients and be like, nope, not doing that. I like not working with that type
Yeah.
of clientele again, or like, okay, I don't like this type of project. I prefer branding and I prefer like doing the whole, thing as a whole.
Hmm.
And I just always acted. So this goes for also anything in your but like whether you want to start a business or not, but like doing the behavior of who you want to be. So who you
Hmm.
are now right now, those actions and habits are not going to get you to your next step. So every
Mm.
time I constantly was thinking, okay, where do I want to be? So I wanted to have, after like freelancing and everything, I realized, okay, I want to have a full service design agency. Like I want clients to come to me and be able to like have everything. So copywriter, brand design, marketing, video, like photography, all of that. And so I just started saying that I offered that and would just find other creatives to pull into different projects. So I was like, people would come to me and be like, "Oh, I can't wait to work with you and your team." And it was like just me. And I was like, "Yeah, we can't wait." Like it's going to
Yeah.
be awesome. But that was just like I knew the type of caliber of clients that I wanted to work with, and so I set myself up like that. So like you were saying, I started as Olivia Design and Company. And then I realized I didn't want to be forward facing. I wanted to have this like agency
Okay.
business. So that's why I changed my business name. I narrowed down my niche, like who I wanted to work with. So we primarily work with, I would say people that are making an impact. So we work with like coaches, spas, therapists, nutritionists, like people that are making an impact on other people's lives.
Hmm.
And the only I just started narrowing that down after trial and error for
Yeah.
years, but I would say the the mindset of being like, okay, this is like the vision that I have for the company and like my position in the company that led to the decisions that I made going
Okay.
forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like I would have no idea how to start a business. So
Nobody does.
that
Literally nobody does. Like some people go to business school, but I don't even know what you learn in business school.
yeah,
Like
no, me
that
either.
would help with entrepreneurship. Like the best entrepreneurs or the successful entrepreneurs just go for it.
Yeah. What did you do in college? What was your
Oh,
major?
I changed my
Yeah.
major like 4 times.
Okay.
I started, oh my God, what did I do? I think I started with business,
Okay.
international business. So I like love to travel. I grew up partially in Singapore and then I've always just like hopped around growing
Hmm.
up and then even in my adult life now. And so I always wanted to live in a different country and work. So I started with
Yeah.
international business and then was like, I cannot, like I just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And then I think I don't know, I changed my major so many times, but I ended up graduating with a degree in public and mediated communications and English.
Okay, cool. So I guess that's a lesson like if you want to start your business, it doesn't really matter like what you do, I
It
guess.
does not matter. I'm totally self-taught. Like I took some graphic design courses in
Okay.
college, but everything that I know now, I taught myself.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Do you still dabble in, do you teach yoga anymore or do you just kind of like practice it on the side?
Yeah, I still practice yoga, not so much anymore now that I have a baby and my free time is
Yeah.
super limited. But kind of when we moved back from California, I stopped working as a yoga instructor.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so I feel like that was kind of like what I want to touch on with business, but I know you just mentioned that you are a new mom. So I didn't know if you wanted to like just kind of go into that and talk about, I guess, like how has being a mom been just like this first year, right? And not
Yeah.
even a year.
Not even a year. Yeah, she's 10 months old now. And I'll speak to the 20-year-olds listening that,
Yeah.
might not like know that you want to be a parent or you're not sure if that's like for you. And I will say, Alex and I are super chill. Like we're so laid back. We didn't learn how to change a diaper at the hospital after we had Lila. Like we were very much just like went into parenthood. We were calling it blissfully ignorant. Um,
It's so
we
fun.
just knew that we wanted to have a family and we weren't willing that narrative that's out there that like kids stop your life or having kids, you have to stop doing things that you love because you have a kid. And yeah, it is really hard and it's very time consuming, but that is not true. We both still work full
Mhm.
time. We both have we have Lila home with us. She has passport stamps. Like we've traveled with her a
Nice.
bunch and it really just makes life so much better. But yeah, I've been a mom now for 10 months and I'm still
N-
constantly learning.
Yeah, I am like obsessed with your mom content and like Lila just at because I saw it for reference, you live in New Hampshire now, so
Yes.
um we got to see each other for the holidays for people listening, and Lila is like the light of everyone's life. Like she just it's impossible to not smile when you're around her. She is the cutest thing ever.
Thank
Uh,
you. Yeah, she's so happy and like having a baby too. Like it really puts stuff to perspective of like time and like life in general, like
mhm.
what really matters and like what's important. So it's been really it's been really fun and like having her too has like shifted a lot in our lives. So like I said, I built my agency. I had, we had tons of clients and it was great. And then once I found out that I was pregnant, I was kind of like, I can't sustain this.
Mhm.
I'll have to take a 1 week maternity leave or something has to pivot. So
Yeah.
we did change I ended up changing and pivoting just the structure of the agency, the amount of clients that we took on so that I could take an extended maternity leave. Because, like I said, the vision of like your life and those decisions that you make leading up to there, those are really important.
Mhm.
And and if you don't have the vision, then how do you know where you're going? So I knew that I wanted to be a present mom and I didn't want to like work a million hours a week. Like I own my own business. I should be able to set my own
Yeah.
schedule. Like I'm my own boss. Like I don't need to work 9 to 5. So that just like finding out that I was pregnant really changed a lot too, because that kind of like helped me make decisions and pivot back to when I had originally wanted to start.
Yeah. And so what happened? So I know that like did you ended up taking maternity leave, right, for a while.
Yeah.
How was that, and like how was kind of like passing the torch and like delegating all of your business to other people while you were on maternity leave? Like how was that mentally?
Yeah, so it was really hard. Like this transition into motherhood has been really difficult because I am like a constant like go go go, like achieving goals, like a high performer. So is my husband. So the having a baby like literally forces you to slow down. Like
Yeah.
you cannot do anything but take care of this baby, especially the first like 4 or 5 months. And we didn't have any child care. Like we tried to have a nanny and that didn't work out. And then we had went to a daycare and the daycare closed, whatever. So
Ugh.
it's really just been us. And so we are forced to be super productive and just like have everything. But anyway, it was really tough for me to like that transition. Like I really thought like, okay, I'm gonna have a baby and like move on with my life. And then like Lila's just here and like she didn't
Yeah.
sleep. She like needed to constantly be held. And it like I was trying to do stuff. Like I was trying to like talk to my clients and everything. And my team was like, Olivia, it's fine. We're fine. Like you
Hmm.
need to just chill. So it definitely was a really, really hard adjustment to like truly slow down. And it's still like a daily practice for me to be like, no, I'm not doing that because
Yeah.
I can't. And now it's kind of like if I make a decision, and this goes for anything, whether you have a kid or not, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So to me, it's like if I
Mm.
say yes to something in my calendar, then I'm saying no to Lila. So when I
Yeah.
put that, and if you don't have a baby, it's like if you're saying yes to someone else, you're saying no to yourself and like your self-care and your resting.
Mm-hmm.
So a decision, even a non-decision is a decision. So that definitely has put a lot into perspective.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice. Like if you're saying even if you have like a partner or like a spouse at home, like if you say yes to something else, you're saying no to like spending time with them. Or
Yeah.
like if you say yes to, I don't know. Yeah, that's a I've never thought about.
Yeah, or you say like so many people, especially women, like we're just yes people. Like, yeah, sure, no
Yeah.
problem. Like, yeah, I'll fit that in. Okay, let me look. And then you're like looking at your schedule and you're like, oh, that was like when I was gonna go to the gym, or that's when I was gonna do a
Yeah.
movie night with my best friend, or that's when I was gonna do XYZ, but it's fine. And
Hmm.
it might not seem like a big deal, and like your partner might be like, okay, no worries, like we can do it another night. It's like you're sacrificing that for someone else's agenda for what really? So
Yeah. That kind of goes like into something else I was gonna ask you. So what would you say like your, I don't know, maybe like top, doesn't have to be a number, but like top 3 or 5 priorities are, and like have they changed over the years, like since you graduated college, or have you always kind of had like the same values, but they just like look different now?
yeah, they definitely look different. And I think that's another thing that I wish I knew in my 20s was like it matters about what works for you and not other people. So like I said, like I've always been a high performer, meaning like I have big goals and I achieve them and I'm like constantly go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like look at, the big gurus, like what are they doing? Like Tony Robbins, like waking up at 5 a.m. every morning and like jumping on the trampoline and doing cold plunge and sauna. And like I would try to do that. And like, no, I'm just
Yeah.
not going to do that. Like that's not what fills my cup. I also don't like to have a schedule. Like I like to wake up and be like, okay, this is what I feel like doing today.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, oh, I have to do XYZ or I have to do this. So I like to keep my schedule very open. So that's a really big non-negotiable for me is like I only take calls on Tuesdays.
Oh
Like
wow. Okay.
only Tuesdays. So if a client wants to talk to me, it's only on a Tuesday. Podcast interviews and other stuff I'll do like throughout the week because that's someone else's agenda, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
for me, I only take calls on Tuesdays. And that has been for years, my
Okay.
staple. And then I would say like I've always prioritized like movement of some sort. So every
Mm-hmm.
day, no matter what, either like working out or going for a long walk or when we did live in California, we'd like go to the beach and go swimming. Um, that has been like always something. And then I don't answer my emails first thing in the morning. And that
Okay.
has also been something that I always do. Like the night before, I always make my to-do list. And then when I get to my desk, I have my top 3 priorities and I do them. And then I'll answer my email.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, there's a couple things I want to say about that. I like how you said you would look at other people and what they were doing, and because I don't know if you have seen the trend like 75 hard
Oh, yeah.
on, so that was by this man, Andy Frisella, who's like this big like serial entrepreneur, like whatever. And me and my sister did that over like during 2020. And I was thinking about it just recently. So that was like 3.5 years ago, and I was thinking about it. And because it's like trending again I feel like it always trends like in the new year
Yeah.
because people like want to reset. And I was like, I would never want to do that again because I do not want to be anything like Andy Frisella, like this big,
Hmm.
scary man. Like I want to be my own person and like do what works for me. Like I do not need to work out like twice a day and read a self-help book every single day. Like sometimes I just want to read a fantasy book. Oh, and
Yeah.
I saw you were reading the Akatar series too.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started. What book are you on?
I'm still on the second one, A Court of Mist and Fury. Are
That
you
one
on
was
that?
my favorite one.
Oh,
I'm on I'm
okay.
almost done with the third one, but the second one, like I literally couldn't put the second one down. Like I'm
That's what
embarrassed that I read the second one, I think in like 2 weeks.
Oh my God. That's what everyone says too. And genuinely, this might be a spoiler, but I like got halfway through the second book and realized that we were gonna have to mourn everything about the first book. And I was like, I cannot read this. So I think I took like 3 weeks off of reading it because I was like, I can't believe that we're just like not
Oh
in
yeah. Oh
conversation
my
anymore.
God, it gets so much
Oh,
better.
yeah. So
Like,
now I think I'm like, I'm on my Kindle. So I'm like, eight or like 60% of the way done. And it's getting good again. And I'm just like, I need to read. I'm such a slow reader. But
yeah.
um, anyway, yeah, I started talking about that because I just like don't need to read self-help every single day or like freaking, yeah, like diet strictly every single day,
Yeah.
like some people. And you just really have to find what works for you. And it's all about like balancing and like living intuitively, I feel like, and doing what feels good. So, um,
Yeah. And
yeah.
not like comparing yourself to others, and everyone is super different, and especially like women, we're
Hmm.
not wired to do things like that. Like the fasting or like the intermittent fasting or yeah, eating 150 grams of protein. Like we're literally not meant to do that. And it's not good
Yeah.
for us. It's not good for our hormones. So there's no reason why you should do it. But also just being realistic. I think like I spent most of my 20s like setting the most unrealistic goals and being like, I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. every day and I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Like I need literally 12 hours of sleep. Like I should have
Yeah.
just embraced that, that I needed that much sleep and I probably would have been way more productive. And so being realistic about like what you can do, and that has definitely helped me like into motherhood too. But another thing too about 75 hard is it's funny that you brought that up because Alex and I like made our own 75 hard
Oh,
that we're doing
nice.
right now, but because we're like that's crazy, we're not doing that, so we're
Yeah.
doing like a 90-day thing on our own, and we have, you know, one workout a day, a gallon of water, reading whatever you feel like reading, and
Yeah.
then no alcohol. And
Nice.
it really, things like that, though, it really does come down to discipline. So
Hmm.
even if you have like two things, if you're like, okay, I want to start some sort of routine, I think just
Yeah.
introducing a non-negotiable, like I'm gonna prioritize drinking water and doing some sort of movement, whether, you know, it's just go for a walk or go to the
Yeah.
gym. Like I went to the Y the other day and literally just walked on an incline on the treadmill because I was
Yeah.
like, this is the maximum of what I can do today.
Yeah.
And but it was fine and I felt great after because I just got it done. So I think discipline definitely is like important,
Hmm.
but it doesn't need to be like extreme, especially if you're just not that kind of person.
Yeah. And I think discipline too is like always going to help you. Like, if you're disciplined in doing things that make you feel good, like being disciplined on like eating more veggies or like drinking water and getting in movement, it's like those are things. Oh my God, I dropped my mic. Those are things that are going to like make you feel better. And I feel like I'm a
Yeah.
big advocate for like going off of how you feel. And
Yeah.
like, if you're just eating foods that feel good for you, doing movement that feel good, you're gonna like start to look forward to it. Like this morning, I did the same thing. I just like walked in my apartment treadmill. I just did like a 2 mile walk and I was like excited to go because yesterday I like sat the whole day and I was like, I
Mhm.
can't, I like need to go on a walk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like in my experience, like being disciplined in the beginning has just made it like easier down the road because now I don't really
Yeah.
think twice about doing things that are good for me because I just know if I don't do them, like I'll feel like crap. So,
Yeah, a hundred
yeah.
percent. And everyone is motivated, right? Like everyone has
Hmm.
dreams and everyone's like, oh yeah, I really want to do that. I really want to do this. But you're not always going to be motivated. And it's the days that you're not motivated, but have the discipline to do it is
Yeah.
how you're going to be successful. Like if you are listening to this and you do want to start your own business, the most important characteristic to have or quality to have as a successful entrepreneur is resilience and tenacity. Like the ability to just go and take action no matter what, whether you're motivated or not, like to just keep going, that is what's going to set you apart and what will eventually help you achieve your dreams. And you're only going to get there if you're disciplined and by like proving to yourself that you could do it. Like on the days where you just like don't want to work out or you like just want to watch Netflix, but you like still just like get in 30 minutes of work or 30 minutes or an hour of your side hustle, like that is what's going to build that resilience and then get you closer to your goals, no matter what it is.
Yeah, no, I love that a lot. And I think too, like even like you said, if you're not starting a business, like those traits are important no matter what. I just think like for me, I don't really, maybe down the line one day I'll feel differently, but I don't really have the desire to like start a business. Like I feel like I'm very content with
Yeah.
just like my job and like the life I have now, but I feel like I definitely use that in other areas, like even just like Abby and I are consistent with the podcast and like posting content for that and like
Hmm.
um being realistic about that too. Like when I first started, I remember being like, I'm gonna do all the content on Sunday. And like that is just like not realistic for me at
Yeah.
all to
What if
like
you want to
batch.
go do something else?
Yeah. So now I have a goal of like doing one thing for like 30 minutes before I go to bed for the podcast. And that's like way more realistic than
Yeah.
like trying to batch like the batch like all of the content for Instagram on Sundays. So it's like, yeah, just
Yeah.
finding what works for you, I feel like is so important.
And also doing like intentional rest with no phone, no electronics, nothing like that. That
Mhm.
is super important to just like be. Um, and that is also discipline because that is really hard.
Yeah, I have been trying to like even I've thought about this because you said you don't check your emails in the morning. I like need to be more disciplined with this of like plugging my phone in a different room, like
Yeah.
when I go to bed and when I wake up, because the days I do it and like I'll read before bed and then wake up and like not touch my phone first thing, I actually get up and get what I need to do done. But the days that I plug my phone in like right next to my bed, I'm like scrolling for an hour and then I just start my day like looking at other people on
Yeah.
like Instagram and it's like I just feel like crap for like the whole morning.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
So, yeah, the best like thing I've ever heard, and I think Ryan Holiday said this, if you do want to read or listen to a really good book, a self-help book, Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday,
okay.
so good. Like, and you could listen to it. It's a super quick audiobook. I think it's like 4 hours. Like,
Oh,
it's
okay.
really good. It might even be on Spotify. So, you know how they have audiobooks now?
Yeah.
It might be on there, but I can't remember if he said this or not, but it's like when your email, checking your email or Instagram is catering to other people's agendas.
Yeah.
Like other people want you to answer their email because that's their agenda. So when you look at your email or Instagram first thing in the morning, it's basically like opening your bedroom door and having hundreds of people being like, this is what I'm going to do today. And this is what I had for breakfast. And like, I'm working out. And then you're just like, whoa, I just woke up. And that
Yeah.
sounds like so extreme, but it's so true because
No.
you start scrolling on Instagram and you're like, oh my God, this person is like already doing that, or I should be doing this, or I want that. Or you answer an email and you're like, okay, like maybe I should like do that first then. And
Yeah.
that's just not a good way to wake up at all. Like your
Yeah.
brain automatically goes into reactive instead of proactive. When you wake up and you're just like, okay, I am going to do my skincare routine and then I'm going to drink water and then I'm going to have my coffee and do what you want to do without anyone else's opinion or anyone else's agenda. And I do not sleep with my phone in my room. I have been more now that I have a baby because like we have the
Yeah.
monitor on our phone, but I really don't need to now. But I didn't sleep with my phone in my room for years because of that reason.
Yeah, I know. I've been like trying to even I would like start doing it during the week and then like plug my phone in next to my bed on the weekends. And lately I've just stopped doing that because I'll now on the weekends I'll like yesterday I think I had my phone next to me and then I didn't get out of bed until 10. And I was like, why did I do that?
And
I
you're
just
looking
should
at like stupid stuff. Like,
stupid stuff like stuff that I'm not laughing and I just like don't need to be watching. So yeah, that's
no, Alex the other day was like, what are you looking at? Because I rarely like scroll through anything. And I was on TikTok
yeah.
and I was scrolling through TikTok watching people line dancing. He was like, what are you watching? I was like, I'm watching people line
Yeah.
dancing. He's like, that is literally so stupid. Like,
Yeah.
why? I was like, you're so right. This is ridiculous. Like, I could
Yeah.
be doing anything better with my time than watching strangers line dance.
Yeah, strangers. It's like so crazy. I 100% agree. I can't even tell you what I watch. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even know like what I watch day to day besides cooking videos. I feel like those are the only videos where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I could actually get something out of this
Yeah.
because then I'll make it. But
But
yeah.
definitely like your productivity starts the night before. So like my
Yeah.
bedtime, like nighttime routine is like very much like solidified because
Hmm.
I know that if I don't do it, then the next day I'll be really upset.
Yeah, no, I 100%. I feel like I'm very similar. I always have to like lay out my clothes the night before, like do my skincare, like brush my teeth, all that before I
Yeah.
go to bed because
Mhm.
it just like sets me up for them. Like fill up my water before I wake up like parched. Like, oh my God,
Same.
like I need water immediately. But
Same.
cool. Okay, well we could probably wrap up because we have been chatterboxes
I could
this
literally talk
episode, but
forever, so tell me
same.
when to stop.
No, but do you want to tell everyone like where they can find you, your business, your podcast, like give all the plugs for where people can find you?
Yeah, for sure. So for like motherhood and behind the scenes entrepreneurship, you can follow at by Olivia Austin on Instagram. And I just started a TikTok
Nice.
that is also at by Olivia Austin. And then you could also go to my website, byoliviaaustin.com. And then my businesses, I have Current Dot Design Studio, and that's on Instagram. That's all just brand and website design stuff. And then I also have another business called Motive Deck, which is affirmation cards and rituals for entrepreneurs. And that's at Motive Deck on Instagram. Oh, and my
Awesome.
podcast is Behind the Design Podcast, but you can find that like through the links.
Yeah, I was saying I listened to it and I love your podcast. You have such a good podcasting voice. It's
Oh,
so
thank
like
you. I actually love podcasting because it's the best way to like get information across, I feel like.
Yeah.
So it's easier than writing.
Yeah, I listen in the car to podcasts all the time and I'm always like I wish I had I wish I could like write something down while I'm listening. I need to like sit and listen to podcasts, but
I know. I think podcasting is just like that is honestly like how I've learned so much. Like podcasting is just such a great tool.
yeah, agree. And it's free usually to listen
Yeah.
to podcasts. So, yeah,
Yep.
everyone should go listen. Cool. Well, thank you so so much for coming on. This was so much fun. And
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, we will have to I'm sure the family will get together soon, but I don't know if I'll be in New Hampshire. Maybe I can come up to New
It's not
Hampshire.
that far. You should come visit.
I know. Do you still have chickens?
Yep.
Okay, I want to come and see the chickens and see Lila.
We have basically a zoo. We have 6 chickens, 2 cats, and a dog and a
Oh my
baby.
God.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I want to come up and visit.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Okay.
All
Yay.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.